Hello, everyone. My name is Gil. I'm the co-founder of Metadata. Just like before we get into the slides, I want to introduce myself real quick. I'm a software engineer in my background. I started writing software from a very early age. I think I wrote my first piece of code when I was 8 years old. I had a lot of time as a kid. I wrote software as a civilian, also as an engineer in the Army. I worked a lot on robotics, a lot on AI. And then at some point in my life, I wanted to start a company. I was 25, and I wanted to build something that is not just a product, a software product. And so I moved to the US about 10 years ago. And after doing my MBA, I kind of shifted into marketing. And that started a whole new journey in my life, because 8 years of marketing was very, very different than my comfortable software engineering life. Life in marketing is very gray. There's a lot of creative, a lot of hunches, a lot of opinions. And I'm not so comfortable with that. I'm more comfortable with algorithms, with data, with code. So after 8 years of running marketing for a few B2B companies, I decided to start a company that will take away the guesswork and take away all the opinions that are being done in marketing. And that was the foundation of Metadata. So in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to tell you how artificial intelligence is changing marketing and how it's going to change many more industries and shift from artificial intelligence telling you what is happening to artificial intelligence executing instead of you. So the first thing to understand is that chief marketing officers today are being held accountable. It's not anymore that a CMO can go to a board meeting and talk about clicks and impressions and email opens and conversions. No one cares about that. Today, a CMO has about 1.5 years to live in a company. And if they build pipeline to their sales counterparts, they stay and they thrive. And if they don't, they're out. 1.5 years, that's what they have. Not only is it harder to be a CMO because you're accountable, today a CMO has anything between 13, even a small startup. We're a seed stage startup, we have 13 different technologies, and then a large enterprise like a MongoDB or a Cisco has about 90 different solutions for marketing. Imagine 90 different tools that you have to get in and get out every day, log in, log out, and operate. And you end up essentially spending vast majority of your time kind of operating those tools. You and your team end up kind of technical roles all day long trying to make those solutions work. And it becomes very hard because those solutions are in silo. It's not like you have one solution that kind of operates itself, but you have one solution for your website, one for your CRM, one for your email marketing automation, one for your landing page optimization, for your advertising, the data vendors that you work with, many, many different solutions. Every person has to manually operate those tools. And the data doesn't flow from one tool to another. So you end up logging in and out from many different dashboards and trying to understand what exactly is happening in your marketing operation. And so many different tools, and it's increasingly hard to actually operate those tools. And when you want to create a predictable model, when you want to go to your sales counterpart, you want to go to a board meeting and say, this quarter I'm going to generate $300 million in pipeline, you can't do that because the systems don't talk to one another, so you can't actually optimize towards one KPI. You have to put together a bunch of spreadsheets, a bunch of business intelligence visualization solutions in order to actually understand what is happening. And that is taking a lot of time, it's a lot of manual work, and that manual work is done by humans, so it's prone to errors. And so what do you do today if you want to kind of move towards a more streamlined operation? That's where artificial intelligence comes into place. AI is on the rise. You guys know that it's being used in every possible application today that we have in place. It's being used in search. You know, when you do a Google search, it knows your device. Even if you're not logged in, it knows your cookie. It knows where you're from. It knows exactly all the previous searches that you've done. In fact, every search that you do today is personalized, whether you like it or not. Even if you disable it, at the end of the day, Google can personalize your search. It's done in advertising. When my wife was pregnant, we went to the doctor. When we came back, suddenly all kinds of diapers and buy real estate and all kinds of different advertising are coming to place. And so it's being used constantly. Usually we don't really know about it. And so marketing is no different than that. B2B marketing is starting to become a new application for artificial intelligence. Again, not only on the understanding what is happening or maybe getting a little bit of insight, but actually replacing the humans from manually doing repetitive technical tasks and having the computer automating all of that work for you. So what exactly can you do with artificial intelligence in B2B marketing. We use artificial intelligence at Metadata in a few different uses. The first use case is data normalization. So imagine we have all of those systems. Each and every one of those systems creates and spits out data. The data is being created in a different data structure. The impressions and clicks data from Facebook, the email opens and clicks, those are being transferred in completely different data structures. And so AI can take a look at all of those tables and automatically normalize them so that you have one big flattened table that you can actually make some sense of. That's one use case. The second use case is actually experimentation, and that's the particular use case I want to talk to you about. So just like a chess game, if you remember when, I think it was Deep Blue that won Gasparov in chess, you know, you have the use case of you have 1,000 possible moves you can make. How are you going to choose the best next move? So what the AI can do that the brain has a harder time to do, it can calculate all the possible moves, make all of those moves, make all the opposite moves for you, and eventually tell you, if you make this move, the chance of you winning is 9%. Then he makes it 999 more times and tells you, this particular scenario gets you 93% winning rate. So that's the move I'm going to make. Same way that a chess can make that move, AI can make that move in chess, the same way it can run experimentation in marketing, and afterwards in other part of marketing. So let's take a break for a second and talk about how AI and how experimentation is done today. Are you guys familiar with A/B testing? Cool. It's a very simple concept, right? You send an email. Let's just use email as an example. You send one email blast to 100,000 people. And you're not sure, are you going to use a question mark or an exclamation mark in the subject line? So you send one email like that and one email like that. What the email marketing software will do for you, it will divide the 100,000 people into 80,000, 10,000, and 10,000. It will send subject line 1 to 10,000, subject line 2 to other 10,000. You choose what you want to experiment by. Do you care about open rates? Do you care about click-through rate? Maybe you care about buying. Maybe you want the people to actually go all the way and purchase your product. Whatever it is that you experiment on, eventually the result will come back and it will say, okay, subject B, 1. And so the rest of the 80,000 people are going to get subject B. Very simple. But what happens when you have 7 different variables? What happens when you don't know when to send the email, you don't know who to send the email to, you don't know what exactly to send them, and there are all kinds of other questions. You know, you don't know what channel to send it to, what campaign type, what kind of message to send, what kind of collateral, what kind of a creative. This becomes a very complex problem to solve. And so humans try to solve it today, right? Like some of our customers are very sophisticated. They have a small army of 20, 30 people. Many of them are data scientists, data engineers, data analysts, business intelligence folks. And they go and build humongous spreadsheets. And all day long, they go into the spreadsheet line by line. They have their codes. And they go and kind of calculate attribution. Did this campaign did better than the other? OK, it has more clicks, but did it have more sales? Did it have more pipeline? Were there big deals? Were there small deals? Did we win them, or did we lose them? Very, very hard to go through all of that calculation manually. And it's inevitable to get into errors. You are guaranteed at some point to make a mistake. And the whole spreadsheet kind of goes into sham at that point. And so how do you make a computer look at all the different variables, tell it, listen, I don't care about clicks, I don't care about opens, the only thing I care about is large deals. You can choose what you care about. Maybe tomorrow you care about close one. Maybe next year you care about shorter sales cycle. You can tell it what to concentrate on, what to focus on, and it will. But it has the capacity for a computer to run 1,000 experiments. It's just one cluster. For it to do it, it's a very, very easy task. And that's what we're doing at Metadata. We're moving away all the experimentation, all the manual, technical, mundane tasks from humans to computers. And not to release humans from that responsibility at all, but we move them from the operator role to a reviewer and to an orchestrator. So yes, human still is there to train the model, to make sure the model works, that it's acting like you predicted it will, but you're not there to kind of operate it technically on your own. And so at the end of the day, what Metadata does, and that's what we hope to do for you, is to connect to all of your existing tools. We're not here to replace any tools, but actually to connect to your existing stack, all of those 20, 30 solutions you already have, and instead of you manually operating them, have an AI brain operate it for you. It will go and it will see what happened in the past. Who did you sell to? Who did you sell to your largest deals? Who did you sell to your shortest deals? What kind of companies did you sell to? And the computer can quickly find out all the information that you may not even have. It can find out what kind of companies you sell to, what kind of technologies have they used before when they purchased your product, what kind of keywords were they searching for at the time that you closed the deal, who was involved in the deal, what was the buying committee, what are the kind of job titles of the buying committee, the groups they belong to, the skills that they have, all those pieces of data that you do today manually look for either in LinkedIn or other places on the web, now is publicly available, and if not publicly, you can purchase that data. And so that's exactly what the AI does. It goes, finds that data, it aggregates that, and it gives you an insight that you can actually work with. And it doesn't stop it with the insight, it actually executes on that insight. And so AI is not here to create another marketing application, it's here to replace the marketer, to help you focus on value-add tasks like creative aspects, messaging and positioning, things that humans still do significantly better than computers. You much better on spend time on that rather than hire 5, 10 more people every time you want to scale up. So let's take one use case. It's a little technical, but it's a use case that really demonstrates how you can benefit from artificial intelligence. So let's say you want to run 1,000 experiments. Let's say I convince you that multivariate experimentation is the way to go, not just doing a simple A/B testing. So you go and you try to do it on your own. You'd end up hiring a data scientist to build your model for a particular company. You'll end up hiring a data analyst to clean up the data and normalize it because an AI doesn't do it for you. You'll have hiring a business intelligence to visualize what exactly is happening. And of course, a bunch of operators, marketing operator, maybe a creative manager, all those people that will eventually be able to start running those experiments. And it will take them, even if all they do, all day long is all they do, they'll still take them 6, 7 weeks to actually run this operation. And then let's move it to an AI doing it for you. When you use a solution like Metadata, it spins off 1,000 campaigns. You just drag and drop, you tell it, okay, I want to run, I have these 20 white papers, these 5 case studies, these 5 ebooks, and these 3 webinars I ran. Those assets are living in my website, somewhere in my resources graveyard. I want to take them and bring them into life. So you can say, hey, these are the assets I want to market. And then you can say, here are the creatives that are associated with those assets. And here are the channels that I activated. I would like you to try Facebook, LinkedIn, email, and maybe retargeted ads. And at that moment, what the AI will do, it will take your total addressable market based on who you've successfully sold to in the past. It will rank all of your opportunities. It will see which one you closed the biggest deal. So $1 million deal that was closed in a month is going to be ranked higher than a $10,000 opportunity that you lost after a year. But nevertheless, it will take all of them into consideration. It will not rely even on the data that the salespeople did, because many times the salespeople perhaps didn't put the right information. So it will bring its own information from the web. It will then normalize the data. That's one of the uses of AI. And then it will segment your total addressable market into as many possible segments possible. One time it will segment your total addressable market by industry, by location, by company size, by seniority, by gender, by age. There are many different attributes that change a person's reception of a content. If you try to send an emoji to a 65-year-old corporate lawyer, it's very unlikely he'll receive it with positive opinion. However, if you set a small emoji or a Giphy to a 20-year-old millennial, it's very likely he'll love it and click on that ad. So you want to do a little bit of segmentation. You don't want to use the same old technique of taking 100,000 people, shoving it in HubSpot or Marketo, one of those tools, and then sending one email blast to everyone. That is not very effective. And so that's what AI is able to do for you. In minutes, it can spin off 1,000 campaigns for you, and then what it will do, it will start looking at every one of those campaigns, not how they do in terms of impressions, on clicks, or any of those metrics that you don't necessarily care about, but it will actually wait and see what is happening with the leads into the system. Because the AI is connected to all of your systems, so it can see everything from start to finish. Is this lead a qualified lead? Did the salesperson pick it up? Did they follow up on it? Did the score of that lead go high? Did that lead particularly create a new opportunity, or did it impact an existing opportunity? What was the size of that opportunity? So the longer you let the AI learn, the longer and the better it can essentially optimize it towards. If you let it optimize for 3 months and your sales cycle is 3 months, the AI can now optimize your campaigns based on closed bookings. So that's something that today, again, you have to manually do, and then once you hand it over to a computer, not only do you save dozens of hours, but you can actually reach predictability. So we're looking into one use case. Nutanix is one of the companies that we worked with. That particular company moved from 50 experiments to 2,500 campaigns in a few hours. If they didn't use us, they would have to hire 15, 20 more people to actually run all of those experiments and optimize them. Today, they run all of their campaigns, all of the demand generation on a solution like Metadata. And together with them, we have the Intels and the IBM that we're bringing into this week, and Amadox and many of the other solutions. So the big enterprises are understanding that we want to push this to actually the smaller, innovative, smaller companies that don't necessarily have the budget, because those will benefit the most from a solution like Metadata and from AI in general. Because going to a war with a company like Nutanix or an Intel using manual techniques is kind of like going into a war with knives where the other guys have laser guns. And so that's the kind of competitive advantage that you get when you use artificial intelligence. And it's not really far from now. You can use artificial intelligence today. That application is available, and many other available applications is AI. There's an application that we use internally called Nova AI that creates the emails automatically. I don't actually have to compose an email today. It automatically goes and finds the connection I have with my prospect. It finds a common interest. It sends those emails automatically. Those solutions are available, and the more we use them, the more relevant they become, because they'll get more and more trainable and become more sophisticated. So just a little bit of understanding what actually do you get at the end of the day when you use artificial intelligence. We can talk about automation and effectiveness, but at the end of the day, a CMO has to go to the board or to the CEO and say, I want to buy this for a year, and I want to renew it for another year, and so I have to show ROI. And so the two things that you get when you start using artificial intelligence, one is effectiveness. You optimize your process significantly because now it's connected, and you can optimize it towards one KPI. And so you can see that some of our customers start to see a lead to opportunity conversion increases. Some companies see 2x. And for a company like Nutanix, a public company, for them to get 2x of their sales from their advertising channel is a huge deal. That's why they moved everything and moved from 50 campaigns to 2,500 campaigns. The second thing that you get, which is, I would argue, even more important, that's predictability. That's the ability to go to your CEO, to go to your CRO or your board and say, this quarter, I commit to generating $100 million in revenues. And you can say that because you look at your last 2 years of ratios, and you can very accurately say, if I generate 1 million opportunities, if I generate 1 million impressions, I generate 2 opportunities. And with that, you can start saying, I can predict that if I want to make 100 million, this is exactly how many impressions, how many campaigns, how many collateral I have to orchestrate. So again, looking at a solution like a company like Nutanix, if they were able to move from 50 campaigns to 2,500 campaigns, imagine what you could be doing if you deployed an AI. Maybe you wouldn't have to hire a large army of marketing managers. Maybe in the future you won't have to hire a large army of sales managers. Because again, those are repeatable tasks. They're repeatable technical tasks. If you hand them over to a computer, the computer can spin them off significantly faster and optimize them in one cohesion. And then one thing about AI that I mentioned before, the more you use AI, the better it becomes. So like every training model, when you start pushing more and more data in that training model, the confidence rate of that model becomes significantly higher. And so when Nutanix and the Intels and the Mules of the world start using our software, they start using it more and more. Once they see a good result, they see a good machine, of course, they want to quadruple the input into that machine. And so we can start seeing a small hockey shift happening, and then every other company that you start using the software after those companies, those large companies, they actually get network effects. So for every 5, 6 security companies that are using our software, the 7th is automatically now mature. The model is mature and can produce results significantly faster than for the first early adopter. And so before I finish, I wanted to give you a little bit of kind of a reality check. Yes, I'm talking about the theory, but at the end of the day, if you wanted to deploy artificial intelligence, particularly in marketing today, how easy is it actually to get from start to when you're in production? And so it's a very simple process. It's kind of the similar process to hiring a new marketing manager. So what's the first thing that hiring a new marketing manager does? They look into what worked in the past. They'll go and start interviewing your customers. They'll look into your sales data. They'll look into other marketing managers in your organization. They'll try to understand who did we sell to, who did we sell to successfully, who did we not sell to, who did we lose, so on and so forth. And that's what AI does. It goes into your CRM, into your marketing automation, into your advertising system. It starts learning what worked and what didn't work, and starts making infer some insights into the future. The second thing it does you start building your audiences. Again, you don't have to manually go and buy data today. That is something that I would say 90% of the companies do, but it's not something you have to do. You could rely on systems like Metadata to buy the data for you. The systems are already connected to all the major data sources out there, the Dun & Bradstreets and the AG data and the Zoom Info and the Inside View and the, all those LexisNexis, there are dozens of different data sources. And so the system can actually understand, based on their historical data, who to buy data from, who is the best data provider for my company, and then actually go and purchase the data and put it somewhere so that you can see exactly who you're marketing to. It shouldn't be kind of a mystery when you get a new opt-in lead. And so the next thing you see is your total addressable market segmented. Now you don't just have one box with 100,000 people that you're not sure if they actually want to see your message or not. Now you have 100,000 people that are divided by all the different attributes that we've talked about before. Gender and age and education and skills and technologies and industries, so on and so forth, and seniority, all the possible attributions you can think of. And now the system can say, okay, cool. Now I have all these different segments. And I know I want to go after these 15 segments today. And so you can start playing with the system and tell it essentially what to do. And before you do that, you can actually preview exactly who you're going after. When you run today a marketing campaign, sometimes you're not 100% sure who you're going after. There is maybe a count of the people that you're going after. Maybe there is some kind of a criteria explaining to you you're going after these industries, after this location, these technologies. But you can actually preview each and every one of the people that you go to. Imagine going to your sales counterpart and telling them, this is who we're going to go after this quarter. Are you okay with this? If I gave you those prospects, will you be delighted? And they can go and you can kind of unfold the tension that there exists between sales and marketing and say, now you're my partner. You're going to tell me if this is who we should go after. And before you spend $1 of your budget or a minute of your time, you can 100% design the targets you're going after. So then when you go after them, you spend significantly more money on the right prospect and significantly more time on the right prospect. You have more resources to spend on them. And then finally, you start the experimentation. With experimentation, the only thing a human have to do is essentially provide the variables and the scope. And so you start telling the system, here are the 20 collateral offers that I would like you to play with. Here are the 40 creative. These channels I want you to enable. This is your maximum budget. And most important, this is what you optimize towards. You optimize towards revenue, large deals, short sales cycle, whatever is important to you, to your business at your current stage. But let the AI start experimentation, because that's the most scientific way to reach your optimize your promised land. And that's it. Eventually, you end up with an autopilot mode. After a few months of operating and orchestrating the system, you can actually sit back and see all of those experiments come into life. They will start running, they'll be optimized, they'll be randomized, and you can start seeing the results come through, not into this system, but rather to your regular systems. In fact, we want Metadata to be a system that you never log into. Maybe in the first few weeks and first few months, you're not 100% sure, you go and you're critical about the system, that's great. But after a few months, ideally, you never log in again. All those leads will end up in your marketing automation, and the sales will end up in your Salesforce, and that's perfect. And so that's how easy it is today to implement a solution like Metadata, in general, to implement an artificial intelligence solution in your organization. And so my question to you, are you using AI in your organization? Thank you very much for the time.